Hello, my name is Darren Woodfork. I'm an attorney here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And at my firm, we help people seal old criminal cases and restore people's gun rights. Today, I'm going to talk about what's called legislative history and how it plays a part in the new motion to seal your old criminal cases law here in Arizona. This law just started about 2 years ago, and so nobody really knows, much about it. And I remember I started taking cases like the second week after the law came in effect, and I remember one of the forms that we've had to fill out with the court. The court said that you need to check a box if you had another felony case or you had another criminal case in addition to the one that you're trying to seal. And so it gave the impression that if you did check that box, your motion would be denied. In other words, if you had more than one case, it would be denied. And so that was like the impression on the forms in the court system. However, the law basically said that you could have multiple felonies and you can seal all of them under the law. And so I remember I had to go back to the legislative history of this law, 13911, the motion to seal case, the motion to seal law. And I remember I read through all the people in the Congress, in the Arizona legislature who, I read about the guy who started the bill. I read about all the hearings that they had on the floor of the House and the Senate in the Arizona legislature. And so I read about how the law came to be, essentially, because I wanted to know if they were thinking about letting people with multiple felonies, seal all those cases, or if it was like that form in the court where essentially it said if you had more than one felony, you couldn't seal it. And so, anyways, long story short, you can seal multiple cases. That's in the statute. But I wanted to make sure, but I did read the legislative history, and that's kind of, like I said, that's all the notes of what the legislators were talking about when this law came to be. I guess I was probably back in 2022. But anyways, that's what legislative history. I guess there's a legislative history for all laws, and so if you need to kind of go back to kind of like the inner workings of a law to find out what people were thinking when they drafted it, you go back to the legislative history. Obviously, if any lawyers are watching this, you guys know that. But just for the public, and if you want to know kind of how your lawyers are looking at the law and kind of reading between the lines, that's one way we do it. And so anyways, hope that helps. Hope that was interesting. If you do have an old case here in Arizona that you want to have sealed, please get in touch with our law firm. You can reach me at 602-284-3035, or you can contact me by email at derronw, that's DERRONW @msn.com. I'd be more than happy to talk to you. Again, thanks for watching. Please like the video and please subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks. Bye.